Game Clique.
This week, I wound up going back into my history. And this is only because I was watching Crunchyroll. I started The World Ends With You on Crunchyroll, right?
Okay.
So everyone should know I'm a big Final Fantasy fan. This is made by some of the lead directors and producers of Final Fantasy. The same belt guy, Nomura, is involved. And The World Ends With You, I kept starting it on Crunchyroll and got bored out of my mind trying to watch the animation like within the first two episodes or something. But I finally just binged it and it got better. It definitely did. But it was like the first two episodes, I was like, ugh, whatever. But I finished it and I already had some idea about the story about The World Ends With You. But I remember earlier last year, I had downloaded the demo for Neo, The World Ends With You. I love the music. The combat was simple, but like entertaining. And I kept telling myself I would get back to it, and I just didn't do it. And I finally, once I finished the animation, I was like, you know what? I'm going to just go ahead, cop the game. It was on, I think it's on sale right now for like $23.99. Cop the game, started playing it, and I was like, yeah, like I knew I was all going to enjoy it because I enjoyed the demo. Yeah, so good music. Combat, I know one of the complaints that people give is that the combat can be button mashy. It doesn't seem like you can have a strategy around it, but the truth is there is a layered strategy. It's actually best if you're only using like one character at a time. The way that it's done is like each face buttons, also some of the shoulder buttons are like mapped to a particular character. And so anyone can literally just go in and just like push any button at any time. But the best way to do it is typically using one character at a time, and then like you're laying up combos, and that is where the strategy and the gameplay elements come from.
Let me, you mind if I hop in? So like,
yeah,
because you didn't play the original The World Ends With You, right?
Correct.
Right.
Because I did own a 3DS, but I just wasn't about to do that. I don't know why. I was familiar with them because of Dream Drop Distance. I played Dream Drop Distance. So I was like, I know who you are.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. So like the interesting thing, like, so we talked about this before today, that this was like one of my favorite DS games, like period. But the combat in the original, what made it so interesting, and it sounds like some of it came over into Neo too, is that you kind of had like a two-man party at all times, and one person during battles, one person would be on the top screen and another person would be on the bottom screen, both fighting at the same time. So you had to manage these two separate battles going on simultaneously, and that was the cool kind of like really nerve-wracking thing about it. So I could see why somebody coming from that playing the sequel and being like, guys, this is really not given the same feel. Is that what you...
I think yeah, I mean, so one, they had to consolidate it because you're only looking at one screen this time. And the way they do it is that you're only controlling one character at a time, as far as like the entire team shares one health bar. So if one person gets hit, then everybody get hit, kind of thing. And I guess like the best way for me to put this is like a 3D, imagine a 3D version of the Valkyrie Profile series, like those kind of gameplay systems. Do you remember that? It's more like that. Imagine that, but in a 3D landscape. And there was a indie game not too long ago that borrowed from this. It was like it's making me mad. It was the black woman character. I'm surprised that didn't get boycotted, but it was an indie game, so it wasn't big enough, I guess. Hey, it's like that. It's more of those combat systems. So, anyways, far as story, it borrows a lot from the original game. Is the best way to put it. We were talking about it, and it's not exactly like this, but it's like if you played the first game, then you know what's happening in this game. It's not too many new twists that it can do. There is some interesting things that they are working on as far as character relationships, of course, if you get tied up with that. But as far as the overall big bad, what's going on, what are you fighting for, it's kind of the same. Don't know a way around that, but yeah.
So is there any... I played the demo, which is the demo, I think is maybe the first 2 hours of the game.
Yeah.
And that's what I kind of walked away from. Is like, damn, it's really, they're kind of hitting the same beats as the first game. Is there any like acknowledgement that the events of the first game happened, or is this kind of like just a straight up?
So I mean, so the game has been out for some time now, so I don't really feel like I'm spoiling anything, but there are some returning characters.
Okay.
And I will say this one because this one is actually in a demo. Like one of the returning characters was like a pretty big antagonist in the first one, right? And now he's part of your party, like so, like kind of thing. So that, and then there's more characters that will show up later that become part of your squad. And there's constant references, like they have an extensive lore book, and the game gradually opens up to do more things. So at first it just seems like you're just running around town doing like errands and things, but then the shops from part one, they begin to open up. So then you start doing like your threads and your RPG system managements there. And then you also get like some new traversal mechanics too later on. So there's some different things that they try. Music is banging. There's no way to get around that. Music is definitely top tier in this game for no reason. But it has a bunch of style. Yeah, so that's what I've been playing. And you know, what I was opening with is that the truth is that, you know, I'd be playing the same games like every week. I gotta do my weekly missions in Warframe, and I gotta grind out my battle pass in trash ass Overwatch 2. And those are like my life.
Yeah,
right
we had to talk like this. You cannot talk about frigging Genshin Impact every single week. We cannot do this. So I'm happy. I'm happy that you're diversifying your. But hell yeah, Neo the World Ends With You is on Switch, is on PS4, and I believe is on Steam as well.
Yeah, sure.
God damn.